finishing up practice now. You guys probably saw already a couple of those guys that were in question were back on the field. C.J. Verdell was back. Stephen Jones was not. Stephen Jones will find out later today, so he will be doubtful for the game. Sampson as well got some work in today, so we feel good about him. Cyrus got some work today. We feel good about him as well. So a couple guys we feel that are going to be ready to play and got some work in today. And aside from that, just go with whatever we got. You know, if guys aren't healthy, other guys have been trained. Adrian Jackson has been full go, played outside, played inside. Have rep Nate Hukalani as well, an inside linebacker, in the case that he has to step in there and do some work. But overall, real good practice.
You happy with how some of these guys have stepped in as the injuries have started to pile up?
They've done a nice job. They've done a nice job, and we're getting them to understand the importance of knowing your craft through and through. Knowing that this is it's more than just answering a question in a meeting or stepping through in a walkthrough. When we go practice and we go our live stuff, that they've got to be able to react and then have that carry over to the game.
Would you consider this to be like a more injured than a normal season?
You know, it seems like it. You know, tough to gauge when you're in the middle of it. You just try to find solutions and answers. But it's been a significant amount of starters, and but it happens sometimes. Sometimes you hit those spots. You know, it's depth related, obviously. So, but you know, it's part of it, and we just got to go for it.
I mean, obviously, it hurts for your current record in this year, but when you're early in your tenure in a program and you're trying to get some of those guys reps, what have you kind of seen from, you know, some of the guys maybe on the scout team or lower that have been able to get up in there and start?
You see a lot of guys that are going to be really good football players. You know, to me, a guy like Spencer Webb really stands out. I mean, his body's already 245 pounds on his way to 250. A great route runner, learning how to block. You see what he's going to be. You know, we're fortunate that at the tight end position, we're fortunate and unfortunate. We lost Cam, who's, you know, our most physical blocker. But we have a really good group of guys there with Jake Breland and Ryan Bay and Kano and Camp Moore and those guys. So, but other guys, you know, stand out. Khalif has been thrust into a more prominent role as a freshman. And even though he hasn't gotten all that time at corner, he has in practice. I mean, he's ready to play, you know, really significant football for us. So there's a good chunk of guys. You know, the shame of it is both Panay and Steven, because those guys really, at a position that's tough to play as a freshman, those guys really stood out as, you know, difference makers. So, but they'll heal up. They'll heal up, and, you know, whenever they're ready to play, they'll join us.
A guy like Webb, you got a couple games now that you could play him and still redshirt him. And you hadn't gotten in. Is there a chance a guy, or maybe some guys like him who
Yes.
would not hit the threshold even playing in a bowl game, could get in at the end here?
Absolutely, and we've repped him this week. He hasn't gotten a ton of reps at tight ends because, you know, in that part of it, we feel like we've got to rep the guys at certain things, specialty things. But he has repped a lot on special teams, so there's a pretty good chance he'll play this game.
Think he'll play special teams
Yes,
at least? Potentially on offense?
Yeah, potentially on offense, but we feel like he's got a really good chance of playing special teams this week.
We've spoken about Andrew Johnson for a few weeks now. Is he game ready at this point, or?
He's close. He's still no contact. You know, he's running. He looks great, and he's running around great. He's a thick guy. He's athletic. He's explosive. It would be awesome if he was ready right now. We really need that right now, but health is going to be, you know, first and foremost a priority.
Whether CJ starts or not, because he was dealing with the hip and now the neck, what kind of workload do you feel he's capable of right now?
If he's healthy, he's good to go. If he's healthy, he's a guy that can carry a major load. At the same time, Travis has had a great week of practice, so has TBJ. Cyrus seems like he's good to go as well. You know, you'd like to have Felix healthy. It's been a long time since he's been around, but we feel between all of them, they can share the load.
How much of a buy-in did you get from this group of seniors? You know, obviously you mentioned the other day they've been through quite a bit, but how much have they helped you?
Oh, they've been great. You know, they've really, whenever you go through what they've gone through, it's always tough. You know, and it's good to see them have, you know, some success, some pretty good areas, and some advancement and progress. And they've learned a lot about themselves. They've learned a lot about the team, about football, about structure. And they've really they've paved the way. You know, they've set a really good foundation. They want to continue setting a foundation. They want to continue to elevate the program. So I think the best part about it is they know they still have a good amount of football here to play, and they want to play their best.
Coach, I know you don't want to dwell too much on the road struggles here, but now that you've got kind of a bigger sample size of weeks leading up to home and away games in practice, do you see a difference in energy when these guys know that they're going to be playing in Autzen, or a difference in execution in practice?
Don't see a difference at all. Road woes were something last year that we felt had to be brought to the forefront, that had to be addressed, because last year I think, this might sound like a broken record, like our average margin of defeat was in the 30s or something like that. And we felt we had changed enough, and we got some pretty good results in Cal, but not very good results the following 2 weeks. And then this last week, we felt like maybe there was a breakthrough. We just couldn't finish it. So there's some things there that still have to be fixed. There is some progress in certain areas, but you don't ignore it. You attack it, just like any part of the game that you feel you got to get better at.
How old is the guy who played in the national title game at Oregon? He's been through 3 coaches, I think 4 coordinators now, but it seems like this has been his best year. You feel like, I mean, you guys been able to move him around a little bit, but you felt like this is even strides from what you saw last year?
Without a doubt. I mean, when you've been around that long, all those cumulative reps, whether they be whichever staff they may be under, but through playing time, through practices, game experience, through even walkthroughs, the amount of football that he's seen, it's really added up. So he knows very well not only what he has to do, but what those guys around him have to do as well. It allows his instincts to get better and better, and that's what makes him such a good football player. He just understands the game. He sees it very well.
Talked about trying to contain their running game on Monday. What have you seen from a response from the defense in particular these last few days to taking on this challenge after 3 tough weeks?
Well, they know he's a real one, and they know that offensive line, and not only himself, but the rest of that running back core is really good, and the offensive line and tight ends, they do a great job, setting them up. So it has to start up front. It has to, go with the front 7, but we also have to make sure that we understand the eye discipline that goes with a game like this is critical. Because as much as they pound the ball really well, they also set you up for some pretty big shots with those wide receivers they have. So overall, just everybody, all of us have to continue to progress, get better, do our jobs better.
I know it's a small sample size sometimes, but as good as N'Keal Harry has, I'm not asking you to criticize him, but inside the red zone, he's almost not productive at all. I'm sure you're aware of some of these splits. How strange.
Let's not give him any motivation, all right? He's a really good football player. I mean, I've seen him take punt returns 90 yards. When you're that big and that fast, I believe he's over 6'4", 220 plus pounds. That really is a different dynamic. It's a different type of athlete. That tackling that is a lot harder. Getting hands on someone like that is a lot harder. Trying to play through the ball when the ball's high and he's trying to high point, it's a lot more difficult. And then I think what he doesn't get enough credit for was how he blocks in the perimeter. I mean, he'll get after you like a big tight end would. So he's had plenty of production.
Remind you about some of those A&M receivers over the years?
Yeah, I've seen some of those. I've seen some of those guys run right by with a ball in their hands and score a few times. So big receivers, they always pose a problem. They do. And it's something that, our defensive backs have worked on being more physical. They've really improved as the year's gone on, and this will be one of the biggest challenges they have all year.
What do you think Herm Edwards brings to the conference? Just, a lot of people question him getting hired because he hadn't been in college for 30 years or whatever, but what is, everyone knows his personality. What do you think he has?
Well, Herm is a teacher, and a coach, and I think when you're a teacher at every and any level. And he certainly has had a great career, an impactful career. I think it's great for the conference because he brings a lot of credibility to the conference. He's a tremendous professional, and he's done a really good job this year.
Coach, I know you guys don't want to talk about this very much this year, but
you keep doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm with you. I respect you, but you start every sentence with "Go ahead." I'm with you.
Few executives from the NFL were out in Utah, and I know you guys don't want to talk about the subject of Justin very much, but is it hard to ignore when somebody like a pro team's GM is standing on the sidelines watching Justin warm up for the entirety of your guys' pregame?
Well, I disagree with you. We've never not wanted to talk about anything ever asked. We're very upfront and I appreciate you and respect you, and I know the respect is mutual. But no, I don't. It's not a matter of ignoring. It's a matter of focusing. What are you focusing on? Right now you're playing college football. We're coaching college football, and anything that deters from that, what value does it have? Really nothing except maybe hurting you, losing your sights on what you need to accomplish. So I don't think so. I think, look, attention, whether it's be of something of that nature or, the way the industry goes, there's nothing wrong with that. It means that positive things are happening or an individual's doing positive things as well. And you got to embrace that and at the same time address it and be real.
With injuries at the last position, how was Lamar taking on extra roles to help that core?
He's done a lot. He's played inside, which he's very natural at. I mean, he's taking reps there just in case there is a situation where he has to, and he's done a great job at the outside linebacker spot. So we're trying to get as many guys reps at multiple positions in the case that, again, there are more injuries. So, but Lamar brings a lot of value to the table. He's a great special teams player as well. But I think everyone's really pleased with the way he's practiced and the things he has done at both positions.
Yesterday, Coach Arroyo said that you guys are going to continue to lean on the run game. For fans who are maybe not as football educated, what would you say to them about how important it is to stay committed to that, even when they see it as being frustrating?
Well, I think anytime when you don't win a ball game, the frustration comes with it. But you also have to, look at the big picture and how it all ties in together. The run and the pass game typically tie in together. There might be games where the box is so stacked that we might have to throw 65 times, and sometimes it might be the opposite. They're playing so far back in coverage, you have to run it. So we're going to stay committed to finding ways to score points as best we can. We'd like to be healthier, but because even though you're not healthy up front, you can't abandon things that, the basic principles of what allows an offense to move forward, especially at this time of year. So I think the most important thing is just being committed to progressing as an offense overall, and a defense and special teams as well, just a complete team commitment.